Hey everybody, it's John. Boy, I'm or I should say, reading the coverage of the aftermath of the Iranian presidential election, and it's, I guess it's frustrating because, we went through, the Bush-Gore election, and many of us felt like that election was not necessarily stolen, but at the exact same time wasn't a fair account of the voters' opinion, at least in that state, and the electoral process that we have is and flawed as we have, and the voting process is flawed when you're dealing with relatively small numbers of differences. The margin of error is too great. The amount of uncertainty is too great. And I've read as much as I can about the Iranian election, and it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of ironclad proof that the election was stolen, but there seems to be a lot of circumstantial evidence, and obviously a much more closed society. But if there's widespread fraud, across many counties and everything, that you would think someone would be spilling the beans. Maybe they wouldn't, at least anonymously. Maybe they're obviously fearful of their life, and they were saying that the government picks loyal people to be part of the electoral counting process, election board. But anyway, but it made me think that if this were to happen, we have electronic balloting, and say that you have an election, say something like Barack Obama's election with McCain, where he has a sizable lead, not anything crazy big. The Iranian election, I don't believe, had any exit polls or official polling done before the election, so there wasn't really any hard ironclad numbers. So, but anyway, if that were to happen, say with the Barack Obama-McCain election, do you think McCain wins by 55 to 45% or something around that? Significant margin, way larger than any poll was showing, and it was there was circumstantial evidence similar to the Iranian election that it would be stolen. Would there be that type of reaction in the United States? Would there be rioting in the streets? Would there be civil protests? It's a little bit of a hard comparison to make, I must admit, because in theory, the United States is much more open society, and you wouldn't be banning the press, and everyone would be interviewed, and there would be I would assume the process would be a little bit more open. But say that weren't the case, or that there was somehow a situation where election appeared to be stolen. Do you think that people would care that much? And why or why not, compared to the Iranian election? Because arguably their president has way less power than the American president has, given the constitutional rights and the abilities of the president, compared to the supreme leader. Religious leader is really the person that calls most of the shots, and the president is more of a figurehead and a mouthpiece. I'm sure sets policy. I hesitate to make this video because I don't know a lot about Iranian politics and their governmental structure in that regard, or really leading up to the election, how much of a foregone conclusion it was that Ahmadinejad was going to lose and Khomeini was going to win. So anyway, so that's my question, and sorry, it's a little bit rambling, but would America care that much?